Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover on the 2021 Chausson 720 Titanium Premium. So to use the gas on the vehicle, this is a gas locker which is located on the 720 behind the driver's door. So you'd open it, and then inside you've got one 6 kilogram propane bottle. So you'll need a adjustable wrench or gas spanner, and it's a left hand thread, and then you'd nip it up, turn the bottle on and off, make sure it's strapped in when travelling, and make sure the bottle is turned off when you're on the road. Turn on when you get to site via the top, and then you'll be able to use the gas appliances on board. To drain your wastewater, so just behind the back driver's wheel, this indicates wastewater. So just under here, you drive over a grid on the way out of your site, pull the handle forward, opens the valve, and as you can see there, it's draining off anything you have put down a plug hole. So in the winter months, it's very important that you drain all the water out of the vehicle, as you wouldn't want this water to freeze in the plastic tank underneath the vehicle. And then to stop it, you just push the handle back in. But what I would do is I'd leave it open just a little bit, so not fully, but when you start driving, if you just leave it open an inch or so, just so when the vehicle is rocked on the camber of the road, any water in there that's not flowing out will just make its way out of the wastewater tank. To operate your Thetford toilet, so the cassette's on this side, so you'd open it with the key, pinch, opens the door, ensure that the blade's closed, which is a grey handle on the bottom bowl of the toilet. You'll be able to lift the orange handle and slide this out of the vehicle. You've got a handle on it there so you can drag it to your site. So your disposal sites are normally behind the toilet block and shower room block. Take the grey cap off, tip this 90 degrees and press the orange button at the back, which will tip it out. As you can see, that's just water we've tested the toilet with. Once you've emptied it, there's normally a tap there, so if you put some water in via the spout, give it a final rinse and tip out again. Then if you're using the chemical in the liquid form, you'd the cap full into here. But if you're using the new form, which is the tablets, so if I just show you the tablets, which are these here. So you've got one sachet, so you'd leave it in its plastic. What you'd do is you'd open the blade, pull the hatch back, open the blade, put a pint of water in, and drop one of these into the cassette, and that'll break down into the liquid. So you can either get these in blue or green. It doesn't matter if you're using the green chemical or the blue chemical, it'll work to break down substances in the cassette. And then what you will want to do is just pop it right into the vehicle, and when it clicks in, it's good to use. At the back of the 720, you've got your garage area. So again, opens with the key. So with these locks, you've got, when it's upright, it's open. When it's across, it's locked. So we'll put them all upright, pull the handles back. So in here you've got your various items. So this customer's opted to starter pack, so you get your hookup blade, your Level & Ramsey chemicals, your toilet rolls, and your hookup adapter for home charging. Got your bed makeup cushions for the front, and you've got your carpets. You've got a light which will work when the main control panel's on, and the garage is heated by the diesel heater and has 240 and 12 volt. You'll notice you've got an easy bed system here. So at the back of the 720 you've got electric bunk beds. But so should you want a bigger storage space in the garage for larger items, you would wind this up. But should you want the beds to be lower, all you need to do is wind them down. It'll give a little bit more space between the top electric bunk and the bottom fixed bunk that you can wind up and down on the belt system. So you just wind it down like so, and that's it in its lowest position there. To operate your bike rack on the back, so lift all the arms up, slide this one off and pull the rail down. You've got 4 bikes here, so this is a 4 bike rack from Fiamma. You put your bike wheels on there and then feed these through the spokes and tie them down. And then you've got your 4th bike, your 3rd bike, your 2nd bike and your 1st bike, so they just go through the crossbars. And then what I would advise that you put some sort of security lock on, just so if you do pull into a service station and leave the van unattended, that when you come back your bikes are still on the back of the vehicle and you haven't been stolen. At the top of the vehicle you've got your high level brake light and reverse camera, and at the bottom this customer has added white parking sensors on there, so they do give the factory finish. On your Chaussons, this is your Technibox locker, so again opens with the key. You'll be able to push the 2 catches in and open. Into the right hand side you've got where you fill with fresh water, so you put a hose pipe in there until it overflows or until you're happy you've got enough water on board. You've got a little drain here which is explained, so it's just there, and this is a travel drain. So say you've got a full tank of water, obviously a full tank of water is a lot of weight on board, so it'll use more fuel and obviously encroach your payload on the vehicle, so you may want to let this out. So if you just open this, then you'd put the pump on and open the tap, and what that'll do is it'll squirt water out, so it'll squirt from a full tank to 20 litres and leave a maximum of 20 litres in the tank, so that you can use the toilets. You've got a bit of water on board and you can stop and have a cup of tea should you need to, and then when you get to your next site you can obviously fill it back up to 100%. Should you want to empty it from full, or you want to empty the last 20 litres, underneath the vehicle you'll find a bung which is just there. So it's a 15mm compression fitting on the end of the blue pipe there. You'd simply pull that off and that'll drain off all the water when you're winterizing, or if you've taken on any contaminated water, that'll remove all fresh water from the tank. Back to the left hand side you've got all your trips, so you've got your main trips on electric hookup, so if you trip the vehicle, try here before you try your main site. You've got all your 12 volt fuses for your various items, so it would be a good idea to carry some spares. And then these 2 are for your diesel heater, so if your diesel heater goes from a solid green light to a flashing light, it obviously indicates a fault, so that may be that you haven't got enough diesel in the tank, or it's just glitched itself out. So all you need to do is turn the diesel heater off, come out here, lift the covers off, remove those 2 fuses, put the fuses back in, which will reset the diesel heater, then turn it on and it should solve the problem. And then next to it, so next to your Technibox locker, you'll have your electric hookup. So what you need to do is get your hookup lead, lift the flap up, push it over there, hook the vehicle first, then the sight, and then do it in reverse when unhooking. And when unhooking, there's a blue little lever there in the left hand corner that you'd push down to unhook the vehicle. So when heating the water on gas, this cover must come off. If you're heating it on electric or you're traveling, the cover can stay on. But to do so, if you just put your hand on the top, put a bit of pressure on, put your thumb in the middle and peel it off, that'll allow the gas fumes out. Otherwise you'll get a red light on there to say that it's failed, because the gas fumes is being pushed in. There's a little sensor in there that will stop the heater working because the fumes aren't being allowed out. Should you've tried a few times and you've left the cover on, what you need to do is just lift it off, blow in the hole, eliminate any excess gas, and then you can turn it back on and it should light, because there's no build up of gas in there stopping it from lighting. So at the passenger door on the new Mark 8 Transit, you've got your fuel filler, which is a capless system. So you just go to your fuel filler, lift your diesel nozzle and pop it in there and fill until it was full, or until how much you want to put in. And below, because it's a new Euro 6 engine, it's got the AdBlue system just to keep the emissions clean. So you'd open it there. This is about a 17 litre tank, and you can buy it on the pump or you can buy it in the barrels and top it up. You will get a mileage countdown that comes on the dashboard on the Ford, and it'll give you a 1,000-mile countdown. Should you not fill it at all and it gets to 0, the vehicle will still simply not start, and you'll need a Ford engineer to come out and top it up with AdBlue and then reset the computer to restart the vehicle. Or if it gets too low, so it gets to about 200 mile, 150 mile, the vehicle can go into limp mode, which just protects the engine because there's a lack of AdBlue, which is a 50-mile-an-hour limit on the engine, just so it doesn't damage the engine. But what I would do is, if it does come on, simply pull into a nearest forecourt. They sell it in the drums on the forecourt, or they sell it on the pumps, and just top it up. To open the bonnet on the Ford Transit, so it's with the key, you pop it in, you turn to your left hand side to pop the bonnet, then you turn to your right hand side to release the bonnet. Then under here you've got all your fluids, so you've got your screen wash, your brake fluid, your oil filler and your dipstick, which is just here. And then on the other side you've got your radiator coolant. You've got your positive for giving a jump start, so just under here you'd put your positive jump pack or jump lead on there for giving or receiving a jump start, and the earth off the engine hoist, which is the loop here. And then on the front you've got your weight plate, so it's 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight, 3.5 ton train weight, and then you've got your axle weights and then your build number here, which is unique to each vehicle that's built by Chausson. To operate the main 12-volt control panel on the Chausson range, so you turn on here, which is your master switch. If you are hooked up, you'll get this little green light on here, which we are hooked up now, so you've got mains to 40-volt on there. If you weren't hooked up, you'd just get 12 volts, so you'd only be able to use 12-volt appliances and no 3-pin plugs will work. You've got your lights here, which are all then individually switched around the vehicle, so that's just a master switch for the interior lights. You've got your pump, so if you want to use your external shower, your taps, your toilet, you've got to have the pump on to pressurize the water. And then next to that you've got your awning light, which is the light outside the vehicle. And then coming down here, these buttons correspond with these labels here. So the first one you get to is the one that looks like a trailer. So this is the leisure battery reading, so it'll show you how full the leisure battery is. Obviously when hooked up, it's obviously charging, so if you take your hookup lead out, you'll get a true reading. And then you've got the picture of the truck, which is the engine battery reading. And then you've got your fresh water, which is half a tank, so it's showing orange. It'll show red when it goes into the red, needs refilling, and when the one drops down underneath, this is your waste, so when you get a red mark there, it means that you've got to empty your waste. This one dims the panel, so you can press to brighten or dim the panel should it be too bright for the people that are using the drop down bed at the front. To operate the Webasto diesel heating, so all you need to do is turn on, make sure you've got 1/4 of a tank of diesel in your main tank, turn on to full, give it about 5 minutes on full just to start the combustion, and then what you can do is adjust it to the temperature you require. Don't worry if the lights start flickering, it's because the feed for the Webasto heater is wired off the light circuit, and it takes such a high voltage when starting up. Sometimes you may need to just put the engine on, as that will put some charge into the leisure battery, but you can have this Webasto diesel heating on when on the road as well. So if you've got back passengers in the winter months and obviously the cold, you can turn the diesel heater on and it'll preheat the motorhome and keep the passengers warm in the back when travelling. Should the light go to a flashing light, that's when you find your diesel heater fuses, turn this off, pull the fuses out, put the fuses back in, and when it goes back to a green solid light, it's working. But always remember to have a quarter of a tank of diesel in the main tank, so this will work. Otherwise it won't work, because they're on different levels from the main engine tank feed to the Webasto diesel heater feed. So to operate your Dometic fridge freezer, so these are your travelling catches. So when you're travelling, you can push these forward and it'll stop the door from opening. Pulling them back will allow you to open the door, and you've got a large fridge there and freezer box. And then to operate it, it's all off the panel on the top. So it's a flush fit panel, so what you've got to do is just hover your finger on there. This is the on button here, so turn on there. And then you've got mode. So you've got auto, so there's the brain of the fridge, so it'll pick out the best sauce you have on offer. So at the moment we're hooked up, but we've also got a gas bottle on. So if I was to take the hook up out the vehicle, it would switch over to gas, because there's no hook up on, so that would be the only way of using your fridge freezer to cool it. Or if I was to start the engine on the vehicle, it would switch over to the battery setting, which isn't your leisure battery, so the fridge can't be powered off the leisure battery because they just wouldn't be able to cope with the charge this fridge needs. It's off the engine alternator when the engine is running, so it's designed to keep the temperature the same when departing. So the idea here is with the battery setting that you'd pre-chill it on either gas or electric before you departed, pop it onto auto, it'll automatically go onto battery, and then however long you travel, it'll just keep you shopping nice and fresh, so it acts as like a cool box. And then when you come to site, you'd either rehook up or you turn back onto gas. Please note with the auto setting that it takes 20 minutes before lighting on gas. So say you've knocked off the engine, it's not finding 12 volts, there's no hookup, so it's not finding 240, but the gas is open, it's finding gas. What you need to do is wait, it'll wait 20 minutes because it'll think you're at a petrol forecourt and it doesn't want to spark. So what you do is you just press mode and you'd manually change it over. So it's gone to battery there and it's failed because the engine's not running, so it's go to gas and it will self-ignite, or you can manually put it onto mains hookup. So you can turn it off or auto if you wish, but it's best just to leave it on auto, it'll do its own thing. And then you've got your temperature here. So when pre-chilling, it's best to have it on 5, but then once you put your shopping in, you probably want to turn it down just because it can freeze the shopping. And then to turn off, when you're travelling home and it's empty or you're parking it up, you just press and hold and turn it off. When winterizing, you'll want to take any remaining items out of the fridge, freezer, give it a clean out, and then you don't want to shut the door because it forms an airtight seal. So if you just allow the door to be open, it'll allow air circulation in and out the fridge when it's in storage, to stop any mold and bacteria growing in the fridge freezer. So to heat your water, there's two controls here. So on the new 2021 Chaussons, these are in the kitchen cupboard. On some other models they can be at the front beside the boiler or behind the driver and passenger seat. So on this one it's in the kitchen cupboard. So you've got Truma Boiler EL, which is this one here. So this is heating the water on mains to 40 volt electric when hooked up on a site. So you've got off in the middle, you've got 1 kilowatt at the top, which is equivalent to 50 degrees. And then if you go down, you've got 2 kilowatts of electric, which is equivalent to 70 degrees of heating your water. So if you were on a site, you wouldn't want to waste your gas, so you just heat it off electric. And then off in the middle, and then same with this one, this is the gas side. So if you're wild camping and you didn't have any electric hookup facility, you've got 50 degrees of heating the water off in the middle and 70 degrees at the top. But with the gas, this is where the cover must be taken off the outside of the vehicle, or if you're in desperate need of hot water, you can have the gas and electric on together, which will double the heating source, reduce the time, and then you'll be able to get water quicker. But remember, if you get that red light on like we have there, it means the cover's on. So take the cover off and then turn it off, take the cover off and pop it back on, and it should work. In the kitchen area, you've got 2 gas burners and 1 electric hot plate. So with the electric hot plate, it'll come on with the red light when it's on, and that's only on mains electric hookup, so you've got to be on a site for this to work. And then you've got two lit gas rings there, and below for removing your grill pan, got your oven shelf there, so you've got your oven, and above you've got your grill. In the back here, the bathroom door acts as the bedroom door as well, so it'll shut off the front from the back. So we'll start off with your toilet. So to operate your toilet, ensure the pump's on. You'll be able to press this blue button at the back, which will give you a fresh water flush, which is from your main freshwater tank. So always flush before use, which lubricates the blade. Then you'll want to open the blade, which is slide this grey lever to the right. Use the toilet with the blade open so it ensures everything goes into the cassette. Flush after use, and then slide to the left, which will isolate the blade and ensure that you can get the cassette out when you need to change it. Should you not be able to get the cassette out, you know what it is, you've left the blade open. On the back here, you've got a little picture of a diagram of a cassette. When you get a light on there, it means that the cassette's full and ready to change. The toiletry cabinet. Some more toiletry cabinet. On the Chaussons, there's a little rocker switch underneath the sink, which turns on the lights. This just shows you that your water pump's working and your water's getting nice and warm there. And above you've got a skylight. So there's a little lock on here, so you've got lock and unlock. So if you lock it when you're travelling, unlock it, and then you'll be able to turn and you can open it for ventilation in the bathroom area. Lock it when you're ready to travel, it just stops it from moving. And then you've got a fly screen for when it is open, and these are very strong because they're on a spring, so just feed them along. And you've got a blackout blind for on an evening, and then you've got a hanging rail in there for towels. Coming to the other side, you've got your showering cubicle. So again, you've got the same style skylight, so you just lock that in. Hanging rail, which is more beneficial in the shower, so if you've been caught with wet towels or you've been caught in the rain, you can hang your wet coats in here and they'll drip dry. And then when winterizing, if you just unscrew the shower head from the shower hose, open all the mixer taps and allow the hose to lie in the shower tray, it'll stop any water from potentially freezing in here. And then these are just magnetic, so then you put the little catch over the top to keep them shut when travelling. So in the back you've got 2 bunk beds. So this one's electric, which I'll get onto in a moment, but if you lift this one up, with it being the easy box system, which you can wind from the garage to bring the bed up, so it'll come to here or it'll go right the way down depending on height and what you're carrying in the garage. You've got storage in there. Pop that down. You've got 2 lights, so these are just touch lights for both beds. And then if you go into the kitchen, you've got a switch here which brings down the top electric bunk bed, so that stops there. So if you were wanting that to be used, you just bring that down. If not, you would just use the one. So depending on how many people you're bringing and sleeping in here, You've got 2 bunk beds at the back and a curtain there for privacy. And then at the back you've also got a window. These blinds are just magnetic, so just clip together, loosen them off, open it up, push it all the way out to bring it in, and then you do have pinch a blackout blind. These clip together with a fly screen, and to depart the 2 you just pinch in the middle and they'll retract away. So to make the front lounge into a bed, you'll need your 2 infill cushions, which can be found in the garage. Drop the table down, which is this switch here. So drop it down. All the way. Then what you need to do is pull the support out, flip the table over, put it into position there, and then 2 cushions. The one with the leg goes closest to the habitation door, the one without the leg goes closest to the cab. Quite a snug fit. Push your leg in, clip it out, and then because it's got the leg on, it overhangs the table ever so slightly, and then there you have a bottom double bed, and then above and you can stop this bed at any height. So should you not be using it as a double bunk, so 2 doubles, you can bring this one all the way down to sit on top of the upholstery just like so. So it's waist height now. But ensure that just behind here you do have the key for the bed, so make sure it's turned on, and then the switches will work. And then should the 12 volt fail, i.e. your leisure battery go dead, you can remove this cover and use the winding handle, put it on the top of the motor, and you can manually wind the beds up and down as a fail-safe system. So to assemble your smart lounge, what you do is remove all the cushions, hold this back, and then as you hold it back, if you just pull the backrest up, there is ISOFIX points on the 2021 Chausson Smart Lounge. Then what you do is you'd use the base cushion, so the small base cushion to go in there, and then the small backrest to go on the back here. And there you have a forward facing seat, and you've got exactly the same on the other side. And on this 720 there is a 5th belt, so you get the backrest, which can be stored in the garage. You've got some clips here which go into these metal, so you just slide them down, and then you put a base cushion, so use the bigger one, into there, and then you do have the seat belt, so you've got 2 facing each other there, and then on the other side you've got the same flip up seat as the one at the back there. So underneath this section here, so there's a flap behind the passenger seat, is the location of your boiler. So your boiler's back there, and it holds 10 litres of water at any one time. In the winter it's very important that you drain that 10 litres of water out, because no warranty covers frost damage, as it's your responsibility to drain it off. So to drain it off, at the front got a yellow valve, so if you just lift this up, it'll drain that 10 litres of water directly out underneath the chassis. So come in with no power, lift that up, leave it open during the time it's in storage or stood up in the winter, open all the taps within the vehicle, remove your shower head, pull the bung off the freshwater tank outside, and open the waste, which will eliminate any water that could potentially freeze in any of the plastic tanks and pipes on the vehicle. Failing to do this will void your warranty, and it's very costly to repair any tanks, pipes and boilers on the vehicle. Underneath the driver's seat is where you'll find your main engine battery for the cab, and the leisure battery lives underneath the passenger seat. So to get to this you will have to remove 4 Torx bolts to lift the seat out. But at the back you have your tyre inflation kit and your tyre compression kit, so the gunk to go in the tyre should you get a puncture. So now in the cab, to the right you have your handbrake, which is a folding handbrake. So pull it up, push the button in. On the dash you'll see the handbrake light in the bottom of the speedo. Drop it and you'll see the light go out, and then all you need to do is hear it ratchet back up, and that's the handbrake on. Pinch and slide, you've got Remus cab blinds on your side windows, so driver and passenger, and then they just stow away. Then on the door you've got electric windows, locks the doors including the habitation door on an evening. You've got your mirror adjustments, which just adjusts the top mirrors on both sides. The bottom is manually adjustment. Automatic lights, so just leave them on automatic, or you can have them on or side lights or off, so just leave them on automatic. And you've got headlight adjustment, front and rear fogs, and then on the windscreen you've got your Remus cab line, so pinch and then clip together like so. They do cut around the sensor in the windscreen for the automatic headlights. And then on the steering wheel you've got all your controls here for the screen. So you've got a digital speedo, instant fuel usage, range, average speed, average fuel usage, trip timer, mileage covered. And then if you go here you can go down to maintenance. You can see your oil life, your AdBlue range, which is 5,500 miles, and the level is no refill required. This side you've got cruise control at the top and speed limiter, and then you just set. Should you have to cancel it by pressing cancel or the brake for the speed limiter, you can press resume, which is this one, and it'll set to the last speed before the engine was knocked off. You've got your volume, your mute, your voice command, and your hands free, and skips the channels with the radio stations. Indicators, automatic gearbox. You've got park at the top, reverse, which brings on the rear view camera. That's just beeping to say the handbrake's applied, and you'll hear the beep there. For the reversing sensors fit on the back of this model, that's an option the customer's taken. Neutral drive, and you can go all the way down to manual, or you can go into drive, and you can use the thumb switch here for up and down the gear, so you can manually intervene. Here you've got modes. You've got normal and eco. I would just leave it on normal. There's no real gain to eco, and you've turned your traction control off. Hazards, 12 volt for charging and USB. You do have another 12 volt up here. Fan speed, turns it on and off. You've got your temperature this side, so you can have it on max aircon, or you can have it on max demist for in the winter. You've got your heated mirrors, your max for your screen, where you want the air to go to, either your feet or your face, whether you're recirculating air, your aircon button, and then because it's a Ford, it's got a heated windscreen, which is a quick clear windscreen. This turns your start stop on and off, but will only work should there be sufficient charge in the engine battery, and you don't have your aircon and things on, because it'll not work because this draws such a high voltage off the battery. Your head unit, you've got your navigation here. So there's a little chip in the side just here, which is your map card. So just set it all up for you. And then When you want to put a destination in, you'd go to the bottom right hand corner, new route, address, and then you put your postcode and town in the middle one there, press go to town, and then it'll preview it, so it'll show you where you're going, and you just press go to town, it'll go to green and it'll say set as destination, press OK, and that, click on that and it'll start the sat nav off. Going back to home, you've got radio, which is FM and AM, and you can press preset and save 6 radio channels. Going to DAB, you can go to list and you've got your regional stations and national stations, and going to preset you can save 6 of your favourite channels. You've got Bluetooth, so to connect to Bluetooth you go on your phone and start pairing with it. It'll do a search like it's doing now. Your phone name will come up here and you just press pair. On your phone it'll ask you if you want to download your contacts, just press allow, and then it'll stream your contacts into there, so you can go to contacts and press who you want to ring. Music, that'll illuminate, and that'll mean you can stream via Bluetooth audio to the head unit, so you don't have to connect through USB. And then you do have, obviously USB, you'll bring up USB, iPod and Android link. You've got camera, so the engine must be started, and you've got a rear view camera, so when driving forward you can see behind you at all times. And then you do have setup, and if you go to other, it's running version 2.4. If you were wanting to update it, so this unit's an F280, you go onto Accent's website, download it onto a USB stick, pop it in here, and then install software, and it'll download the latest software. You'll know when you need to download your latest software when it gets slow or glitchy. Just means it just needs an update. And obviously you've got all the shortcut buttons. We've got home, nav, camera, dab, alternative and Bluetooth, which are just designed for you to easy touch them when you're driving, so the shortcuts, so you don't have to take your eyes off the road for too long. Got your volume here, and you can turn it on and off by just pressing and holding.